This is Spectrum News, and now Destination Space. Hi, everybody. Time right now is 5:13. We are just moments away from quite the sight to see. We're standing by for a launch for the Polaris Dawn Mission from our Space Coast. And if you're just joining us, starting your day going, okay, what's going on? You surely picked a great morning to join us.
Oh, absolutely. So this was supposed to happen originally at, what, 3:38 this morning? By the way, Beth Bruswell, Julie Gargada, we want to welcome you if you're watching this across the state of Florida. We've seen some delays with this launch over the past couple of weeks. First, there was this ground side helium leak. Then it was the weather. Now the focus again is on the weather.
But things are looking better and better, it seems, by the minute. Let's go ahead and continue our live team coverage right now with our space experts, Greg Pallone and Jerry Hume. Live, we're exactly at the Kennedy Space Center. Good morning, gentlemen. So walk us through the many firsts for this particular mission.
Well, greetings from the Space Coast, the John F. Kennedy Space Center. We're about 3.5 miles from Pad 39A. That is where a Falcon 9 from SpaceX, standing tall with a Crew Dragon named Resilience, 4 crew members on board of the Polaris Dawn team waiting to launch to space on a historic 5-day mission.
And we can take a live view inside with our SpaceX feed of what it's like inside that Crew Dragon right there where the 4 crew members are. There's Commander Jarek Isaacman. He's the billionaire, helped partner with SpaceX to fund this Polaris mission. There's pilot Scott Kidd Poteet. He's a retired U.S. Air Force lieutenant colonel. And then on the 2 sides are 2 SpaceX employees. Their mission specialist, Sarah Gillis and Anna Menon. First time SpaceX will be sending 2 of their own up to space.
Yeah, engineers actually getting to do the engineering. Pretty impressive. Let's take a look now at the milestones that got that crew on board the Crew Dragon. Earlier this morning, or overnight if you want to put it that way, they donned their spacesuits from SpaceX, brand new design, designed specifically for the Polaris Dawn mission. They'll be using that on the first ever commercial spacewalk, which is one of the big events that will happen on this 5-day mission, which is coming up. And then, of course, the crew walked out to get to their rocket. They got a chance to look at their big Falcon 9 rocket that will deliver them on this historic mission. And then, of course, the crew access arm retraction. That another milestone, meaning that they are getting ready to fly. And now the rocket is being fueled and everything is progressing just fine, Jerry.
Yeah, the launch abort system was activated just in case something happens during the fueling system here. And so the crew of 4 are ready for this on the Polaris Dawn, ready to for this 5-day mission around orbit. They're going to be going farther into space than any astronaut has since the Apollo era.
Yeah, pretty impressive that they're going to be doing this and performing all of these different tasks, lots of science, experiments. They're going to jam-pack this 5 days, there's no doubt about that. But Jerry, I tell you, the spacesuits that they're using, we've talked briefly about that. Very impressive, next gen, all the different bells and whistles.
Yeah, and this is to test out these spacesuits for the first time SpaceX doing this first ever commercial spacewalk. And in order to do it, there is no hatch. The Crew Dragon inside will be tested by the harsh conditions of space. We have a preview of what that's going to be like.
SpaceX hoping to make history once again, this time with the first commercial spacewalk. 435 miles above Earth, Commander Jarek Isaacman and mission specialist Sarah Gillis
complete. Stand by for GNC config and hatch open.
Will step outside the Dragon spacecraft. The goal to test out SpaceX's new suit designed to handle the harsh conditions of space.
We're going through a series of test matrix on the suit, and the idea is to learn as much as we possibly can about this suit and get it back to the engineers to inform future suit design evolutions.
Tethered to the Dragon capsule, they'll be showing off the spacesuit, which is designed for greater mobility. There's no airlock, so when the hatch is open, the entire Dragon spacecraft will be exposed to the vacuum of space. The other 2 crew members inside the capsule will also be in the new spacesuits. All 4 will be fed oxygen while the Dragon is depressurized.
That morning, we'll go through system checkouts on both the life support system and the suits before all of us get pressurized on 100% oxygen. We'll complete the final pre-breathe on 100% oxygen before we vent the spacecraft.
It's a risky move, but the Polaris Dawn crew thinks it's worth it to test this new spacesuit.
It might be 10 iterations from now and a bunch of evolutions of the suit, but that someday someone could be wearing a version of which that might be walking on Mars.
That spacewalk is set for day 3 of this 5-day mission, and after that spacewalk concludes, then the spacecraft will be repressurized so that the astronauts can conduct other experiments. One of them on day 4 is using Starlink satellites, also in orbit, to see if they can communicate, and then there's about 40 or so experiments on board that the 4-member crew will be conducting over the next 5 days.
Speaking of Starlinks, you know, they have a communication system with satellites around the Earth, but a direct line of communication isn't always available. So they're going to utilize SpaceX's own technology and take advantage and try to test out these Starlinks to see how that will help this space flight, but also for future space flights as well. A reminder, if you are paying attention, in about 8 minutes after liftoff, that's when the SpaceX Falcon 9 first stage booster will be coming back to the drone ship. Just read the instructions, which is positioned a couple hundred miles out in the Atlantic Ocean behind us to receive that booster for it to be reused for future missions. So that always the secondary mission there on the for SpaceX. But again, the crew have been waiting now for a couple of hours. We had the original launch time of 3:38. They went through with the launch team. They talked to the weather officers, and they said, no, we can't launch at 3:38. That's because we have a weather system that'll be too close to the pad. And if they had fueled, that we would have had a scrub. So they decided to stand down and go for the second time.
Yeah, and thankfully they waited, and they waited for that second launch attempt here again at 5:23, so just a few minutes away from now. And the weather, really an interesting aspect of this launch, because it's not only a concern here what's happening, but it's out where the drone ship is located. It's also where the ascent corridor for it as it heads to orbit. And then they also have to look 5 days out at what the conditions will be like in the Gulf and Atlantic, where Crew Dragon resilience will splash down.
Yeah, you think weather is a factor in launches? This is really a factor in this launch as well. They also have to make sure the weather is good should there be an issue, and they have to activate the launch escape system and that type of thing. So that's something that they always are looking forward to. Crew safety is paramount, and it is number one, no doubt about it. Well, we are just a couple of minutes away from the launch of the Polaris Dawn mission on board a SpaceX Falcon 9. The Crew Dragon Resilience has the 4 crew members on board as we speak. So Jerry and I are going to step aside, and we're going to go ahead and listen to to the commentary from the launch team as this historic launch from NASA Kennedy, Pad 39A, is about to get underway.
Dragon's on internal power. First stage, propellant tanks are loaded. Next major event, approximately T-minus 2 minutes, liquid oxygen load completes on the second stage. After that, at about T-minus 1 minute and 30 seconds or so, we will tell the crew to expect loud venting as we depressurize and drain the lines up the side of the strongback. And then as we get down inside the last minute 45 and then 1 minute, we'll get Dragon into countdown. Falcon 9 computers will go to startup. Waiting for the call out now for liquid oxygen.
H2 LOX load is complete.
And there we go, LOX loading complete on second stage. All major propellant activities are complete. Dragon
is an auto idle.
Dragon's gone to auto idle, one of the states in its flight computer. We'll begin venting down the lines.
Gas closeouts are starting. Expect loud venting.
There we go. So the plume you see coming off of the strong back here, that's normal. As we come up on T-minus 1 minute, we'll hear Dragon computers in the countdown, Falcon 9 computers in the countdown, flight termination system armed, and then we'll hear the goes. So let's listen in to the last 66 seconds of the countdown.
FPS is armed. Falcon 9 is in front of us and is now controlled.
Dragon is in countdown.
Dragon, SpaceX. Go for launch.
Send that, SpaceX.
T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 15. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition, and go Falcon, go Polaris. Copy, 1 Alpha. Vehicle is pitching downrange. Stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
T plus 35 seconds into the Polaris Dawn mission, flying crew on board Dragon and Falcon 9 to new heights.
Power and telemetry nominal.
And we're throttling down in preparation for max Q. Next call out, the vehicle supersonic. And there on the left side, we got the Polaris Dawn crew.
Supersonic.
Thumbs up from the pilot on the left side there.
Max Q.
We're throttled back up to power.
1 Bravo.
And we heard the call out, 1 Bravo.
Copy, 1 Bravo.
That just tells the crew what would happen should they need to initiate anything. But right now, everybody making nominal callouts on Falcon 9. Nice views from the ground camera and nice view from inside Dragon.
Impact chill is underway.
The announcement lets us know we've begun the final chill of the second stage engine in preparation for its activity coming up at about T plus 2 minutes and 40 seconds. Two minutes into flight. Everything continues to look good. We'll have, in half a minute, 3 major activities. Shutdown of the 9 Merlin 1D engines, stage separation,
throttle down,
and then ignition of the second stage engine. Throttle down, we're holding a constant acceleration now for the crew, just below 4 Gs. See, we're coming up 70 kilometers. Preparing for MECO.
main engine cut off.
2 Alpha.
Stage separation confirmed. Copy, 2 Alpha.
As you can tell by the cheers behind us and the views on your screen, the first stage booster now on its way to attempt landing on Just Read the Instructions. Second stage there on the right-hand side of your screen. You can see that the first stage has not yet reached its apogee. You can see the altitude there. Lots of thumbs up there from, from pilot Scott Kid Poteet. Now 3.5 minutes into the Polaris Dawn mission. First stage continuing to make its way up, up, up to its apogee. We'll see that altitude begin to slow down.
Dragon SpaceX, trajectory nominal.
Great news there, indicating that the second stage trajectory is looking good. Now the grid fins have deployed on the first stage. If we get first stage views, we might be able to see the...
There you have it, the launch of a SpaceX Falcon 9 beginning the Polaris Dawn mission. The Crew Dragon Resilience carrying 4 astronauts up to space for a 5-day mission. Just a beautiful launch, Jerry, and you could see it punching through the clouds and lighting up the early morning sky.
Yeah, what a wake-up call here on the Space Coast as the Falcon 9 rocket roared off of Launch Pad 39A, and on board Commander Jarek Isaacman, pilot Scott Kidd Poteet, and mission specialist Sarah Gillis and Anna Menon.
Just an amazing launch right now as they are proceeding up. The next milestones coming up, we have second stage separation. The first stage booster will be coming back to land on the drone ship. Just read the instructions about right around the 8-minute mark or so. So we'll be following along with that as well. But you can see from the feed there that it looks like the crew's doing just fine. They're enjoying this ride.
Having a thumbs up.
And a thumbs up. And that's always a positive thing right there. We have a tradition here on Spectrum News. We not only cover the rocket launches for you, and we enjoy doing that, but we also like to show replays for those who may have stepped outside. So as tradition, here's a replay of a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket launching from Pad 39A at the Kennedy Space Center, beginning the Polaris Dawn mission.
4, 3, 2, 1, ignition, and go Falcon, go Polaris. Copy, 1 Alpha. Vehicle is pitching downrange. Stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
T+35 seconds into the Polaris Dawn mission, flying crew on board Dragon and Falcon 9 to new heights.
Power and telemetry nominal.
And we're throttling down in preparation for max Q. Next call out, the vehicle supersonic. And there on the left side, we've got the Polaris Dawn crew.
Supersonic.
Thumbs up from the pilot on the left side there.
Max Q.
Now there you have it, another look at the Falcon 9 launch happening here just a few minutes ago from the Kennedy Space Center at 5:23, beginning the exciting 5-day Polaris Dawn mission. No doubt these crew members who've been waiting for so long, who have trained for so long, just like astronauts, they essentially are astronauts, are excited that their ride is now here.
Yeah, and this mission, 5 days, a lot of firsts going to happen, including right off the bat, they're going to go really high up into orbit, almost to the outer edges of the Van Allen radiation belt, where they'll be going as far as astronauts have been going far as astronauts have since the Apollo era. So that's pretty historic there. The 2 women on board will be the farthest women have traveled ever in space. And then they're going to be testing out these SpaceX spacesuits during a spacewalk. And as you can see on our screen right now, we are waiting for the first stage booster to land. That's on the left side of your screen. You see the grid fins there. It's going to land on the drone ship. Just read the instructions off of the coast here in the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah, not something we'll be able to hear, not landing on land, but that's okay. Still spectacular. They've done this hundreds of times already, and it is an amazing sight. As we will go ahead and listen in and see if we get confirmation of a clean booster landing.
Shut down on that first stage. That concludes the entry burn. And the cool part about this, with the Stage 1 vehicle returning back to Earth, is we get to fully utilize the atmosphere. The atmosphere actually...
Stage 2 is in terminal guidance.
The atmosphere actually scrubs about 70% of the velocity on the vehicle. So we use that entry burn to help slow the vehicle down. Then we utilize the atmosphere and the drag from the atmosphere to slow the vehicle down. And then we do have one single burn for the landing burn.
Copy, Shannon.
And next up will be SECO 1, and that is second stage engine cutoff 1, and that'll be on the second stage. That MVAC engine on your right-hand screen will shut down and allow the vehicle with Dragon attached to coast.
MVAC shut down.
And there's that shutdown. And the landing burn on the first stage should be starting up here momentarily. And there it is. Landing burn has begun for
Dragon SpaceX, nominal orbit insertion.
Dragon SpaceX, launch escape system disarmed.
Copy that, SpaceX, and we show the same.
And a lot of events happening right there, but you can see that the stage 1 vehicle has touched down. Just read the instructions. A very excited crowd there.
Okay. There you go, elation from the SpaceX crew in Hawthorne, California. A successful first stage booster landing on the drone ship out in the Atlantic Ocean. And this, as the second stage, Jerry, propels our crew up to their very high orbit.
Yeah, some 870 miles above Earth, reaching the Van Allen radiation belt, and from there conducting that first ever SpaceX commercial spacewalk, and then some science experiments. So busy 5 days ahead for this 4-member crew.
Yeah, they're going to have a lot on their plate, but they're definitely excited about it. We've been following along with their training as they've been training so hard for this mission and waiting so long. We've had a couple of weeks of delays. We had some technical issues. Weather was not cooperating during those times. The launch time kept getting pushed back day after day after day. Finally, they said, okay, we're going to target this day, and it ended up being the second attempt during the launch window, but weather cleared out beautifully. No technical problems. A flawless countdown. We'll continue, of course, to follow the Polaris Dawn mission as it happens over the next several days. For Jerry Hume, I'm Greg Pallone, live at the Kennedy Space Center.